Definition. A metric is a quantifiable measure that is used to track and assess the status of a specific process. HR metrics are indicators that allow HR to track and measure various performance areas. Some examples are the time to hire, cost per hire, revenue per employee, absenteeism, employee satisfaction, voluntary turnover rate, overtime hours, and other HR metrics. There are a plethora of HR metrics to choose from. On the other hand, some metrics measure something important at the corporate, departmental, and team levels and at the individual level. KPIs are a subset of metrics that assess how successfully a company is accomplishing a strategic objective. Therefore, a KPI is a metric. Since a KPI tracks and measures performance, it must have a metric, a current value, and a target value. A target value is the metric's minimum or maximum value. The appropriate KPIs for a business are connected with the strategic objectives. KPIs change when a company's focus shifts. Also, different companies have different KPIs depending on their strategic goals. KPIs in HR are unquestionably important for getting the most out of employee and workforce data. It is impossible to get better at managing people if you don't track your progress. But how can you know whether you're performing well if you don't define what good performance is and how to quantify it? How will you know how successful you are in business if you don't measure your HR performance? First, you'll need performance indicators to track your progress.
What are HR KPIs? We should first look at key performance indicators to answer this question. KPIs are strategic metrics. A KPI is a quantifiable measure used to evaluate how effectively a company achieves key business objectives. This doesn't mean that everything you can measure is a KPI in HR. Only metrics that directly link with the organizational strategy can be called KPIs. Human Resources Key Performance Indicators, HR KPIs, are HR metrics that are used to see how HR is contributing to the rest of the organization. This means that a KPI in HR measures how successful HR is in realizing the organization's HR strategy. The HR strategy follows the organizational strategy. In other words, HR KPIs mirror organizational performance for HR, as they are defined based on the HR outcomes that are relevant to achieving business goals. HR might use a combination of KPIs to achieve a specific business objective. Each of these KPIs can be subdivided into smaller goals. It is best if these KPIs are in sync to implement the HR strategy. They do, however, occasionally clash.
Examples of HR KPIs. Employee headcount. Employee headcount is the total number of employees in the organization, department, or team you're measuring. It's vital to track it accurately since it's used to calculate so many other HR metrics, such as employee turnover rate. Demographics. Tracking demographic data helps you better understand who's working for your company and how to equip them for success. Commonly tracked information includes age, gender, race, education level, geographic location, and years working for the company. Employees can self-report these details, or you can use the data already in your system. Be mindful of demographic data collection laws in your country. Absence rate. The absenteeism rate in the organization is usually calculated by dividing the number of working days in which the employee was absent by their total number of working days. Benefit satisfaction. Satisfaction with employee benefits is usually measured through an employee engagement survey. These can be very helpful in reducing employee turnover. Employee productivity rate. Although this metric is hard to calculate, it says something about the growing capacity in terms of human capital production. It often relates to speed or could reflect accuracy. Employee satisfaction index. Employee satisfaction is measured via employee attitude and engagement surveys. Dissatisfaction is a common cause of employee turnover. Many basic HR metrics aren't worth tracking because they don't always fit with company strategy. Each organization's KPIs are distinct. Likewise, every company is distinct, and the KPIs should reflect that diversity. Involuntary turnover rate. Not all turnover is voluntary. This is the number of employer-led resignations as a percentage of the total resignations. Voluntary turnover rate. This is the number of employee-led resignations as a percentage of the total resignations. Unwanted turnover rate. Not all turnover is bad. It's usually positive when bad performers leave. This is the number of good performers leaving as a percentage of all performers. Training effectiveness. Training must be effective to reach its goals. 90-day quit rate, or the 360-day quit rate. This is the number of hires that leave within 3 months or a year. A double-digit percentage is already terrible. It's HR's job to recruit the right people. Failing to do so will have a measurable negative impact on organizational effectiveness. This is a crucial recruitment KPI. Good KPIs must meet the SMART criteria. Knowing these criteria should aid you in developing the necessary human resources key performance indicators. The average length of service is not a SMART KPI. While it is simple to measure and achieve, it is not intelligent, timely, or relevant. The length of time an individual works for a company has little to do with how efficient, productive, or innovative they are. It is unrelated to the company's broader demands and objectives. Internal promotion rate, on the other hand, is a SMART KPI. It's SMART since it reflects whether or not people are improving their abilities and progressing. It is quantifiable, attainable, timely, and relevant. A KPI like this will show how many employees progress through the firm. In addition, it is advantageous to an organization in terms of costs. When a corporation does not have to hire from the outside, it saves money. Leading versus lagging KPIs. Future events and causes are referred to as leading indicators. These signs appear ahead of time. For example, one of the most important KPIs for labor cost is productivity. Enterprise leaders can use leading and lagging indicators to understand business conditions and trends better. They are performance indicators that tell managers if they are on track to accomplish their company's goals and objectives. A leading indicator encourages business stakeholders to ask, "What strategies can I use to boost my chances of exceeding this goal? What skills can the team develop to attain the intended result more effectively? What can be done to accelerate product development? Leading indicators accomplish this by establishing benchmarks that, if met, indicate that overall KPIs and objectives are being accomplished. A lagging indicator measures current production and performance, whereas a leading indicator advises company leaders on achieving desired objectives. A leading indicator is dynamic but difficult to measure, whereas a lagging indicator is simple but difficult to change. Because they are opposites, a lagging indicator is frequently compared to an output measure. A lagging indicator prompts corporate stakeholders to ponder the following questions. How many people were present at an event? What was the total amount of product produced? What kind of response did it get? To acquire insight into future success, lag indicators measure output that has already occurred. They do so by taking measurements of things like profit, expenses, customer participation, renewal rates, revenue. You're only receiving half of the KPI picture if you use lagging indicators without leading indicators. Lagging indicators are necessary for developing leading indicators that can propel your company forward, but they aren't the whole picture. To develop the most accurate and meaningful KPIs, these sets of indicators should be used together.